Welcome to the Play Chess Not Checkers podcast, where eye care goes to meet their heroes and learn how they turn a passion for eyes into a business of success. Hey everybody, thank you for joining us again. I got a gem. I'm getting some good ones. I'm getting all my friends. I'm calling in all my favors. I'm calling in all my hey. Remember that time I bought you a drink? This is one of those times. My friend, my colleague, Anith Pillai, I love you, man. Come on here. Got you. Hey. Welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Hey, man. Appreciate you having me, man. Really, truly an honor. I was very enthusiastic about doing this just because, man, we just love chopping it up. So, yeah, I was really looking forward to it.
We can talk for hours. So that's why I say, you know what? Might as well hit record so that we can help some other people out. You know, the purpose of this podcast is to kind of get behind the story, trying to get the other part, because a lot of times students or young grads or even people our own age, they see the finished product, but they don't see what it took to get there. And sometimes people aspire to our finished products without knowing that without what we went through before, I wouldn't have the knowledge. I only have the knowledge base based upon what I went through, which taught me what now I'm telling to you. But if I didn't go through anything, I wouldn't have it to actually tell you, you know? So what I want to know is, tell me your origin story, you know, before the three-piece suits, you know, before all the other stuff, because, you know, you're a man that came to do a lecture in Florida in a three-piece suit. So give me the before all this, give me the backstory. Where I know you were in Houston and stuff like that, but where were you born? Give me the whole rundown.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out. I mean, this is the name of the podcast, you know, Play Chess Not Checkers. I mean, I bought your book back in the day, you know, and it was kind of revolutionary because nobody else did that. There was no guide to do that from a practice owner's perspective. So shout out to you for putting that out. And, you know, a lot of our colleagues reach out for valuable information from that book. So just want to put that out there. Yeah, you know, so go ahead, my bad. Yeah, there you go.
Get the book. Yes. Give me the backstory. Thanks for that. Give me the backstory. Where were you born? Give me the before everything. Growing up, where was that at?
So born and raised Houston. So H-Town boy. And I had an older brother that's 10 years older than me, which is very rare. And people always ask, well, so you must have been the accident, right? Like, no, I wasn't. I was playing on, I'm sure. And, you know, it was inbred into me at an early age to actually be in a medical field. And, you know, being, you know, my brother is a physician. I didn't want to do that, right? You want to rebel against what your parents want to do. So I was actually going into the engineering field. I was an electrical engineering major in college, believe it or not, for 2 years. And after I did an internship, I realized this ain't it. And I was working in an optometry office, and that's where I decided, with some advice from friends and even my older brother, like, hey, maybe consider that as a modality. And I kind of just picked it randomly. I was like, okay, all right. I mean, engineering ain't for me. I had a lot of credits built up, long story of how this works, but I was like, hey, I can still graduate on time, etc. And I went into optometry school, got accepted, and I was like, well, it'll just be a job, you know, like it's a good living situation. It'll be a good salary. And then, I mean, like immediately fell in love with it. Immediately. It was great. And then once clinic started, oh man, like even better. Then externships happened. It was fantastic. And I feel very blessed because that random decision to be made as a young kid for the profession you do for the rest of your life could have been horrible. It could have been just another.
It could have. It could have gone bad. You got really lucky in doing that, and sometimes some things are serendipitous. Some things just work out. You know,
and I think a lot of that happens to be because I had great mentors along the way. I think that's what made the profession so appealing to me as I was going through the process. There were great professors. There were great externship professors. There were great doctors that reached out even after I graduated that gave me a lot of life lessons that I think helped, where I didn't get that in the engineering engineering world. So, not to denigrate any engineers.
My
I know
wife's an engineer. I get it. Yeah.
yeah.
Now, you know, me being African American, you know, they say minorities. We have a few options: doctor, lawyer, engineer. Uh, you know, embarrassment to the race and to the family. Was that because you told me you were an engineer? You said your brother was a physician. Was it like, hey, you got to pick from these chosen, and then you found one within that works for you, or because sometimes it's said but not said. Sometimes it's like an understood thing. Some things are cultural norms, or sometimes it's verbally said. Which way was it for you?
For me, it was doctor. Like, you got to be a doctor. And when I transitioned engineer, it was a big feud, but it was still acceptable. It was okay. Like, yeah, that's fine, but like, can you make it, right? But yeah, it was definitely embedded from early. Like, you got to go doctor, and the fact that you're not was like, oh, we had to sit down. You know, like oh, you're not being a doctor anymore. Like, okay, so what are you gonna do?
Spend this money for what? Like, why would we spend this money? Like, going to school,
exactly
studying
right.
to do that?
Yeah. So they were like, okay, I can get on board with engineer. It's not that bad, but I mean, they like, my dad especially was the one that was like, he made this line that was hilarious when I decided to go into engineering. And he was like, all right, so you're not going to be a doctor. You at least owe me that you marry a doctor. And I was like, any way you can have it, like that's what it takes. So
I do it. I mean, it's true. Sometimes it's not said. Your family said it. Sometimes it's not said. And sometimes we make jokes and people make it seem like that's not understood. But the problem is, like, they only know that this is what success looks like. So when you're going and you're here, you say, I want my kids to be in a better position than me. And I know if I can get them here, they're making six figures, and they'll be okay. I won't have to be worried about them.
Right.
If they only knew how much, like, computer engineers and some of those biomedical engineers in California are making $500,000, $1 million, $2 million. Those people that are doing AI engineering, the guy got 20 million a year. That's who they just stole. 20 million a year, OpenAI guy. They just stole. I'm like, 20 million for a concept that's less than 10 years old. Like, so if they only knew, they wouldn't have been like, oh, don't be a doctor, like, go be an engineer. They would have been like, no, you go be an engineer, you know.
Well, there's two aspects to that. One is, yeah, they wanted the financial portion of it, because when they come, you got to remember, like, when my parents, came from India to America, they came with nothing basically, and they're coming off the concept of like, okay, what can be successful for our kids? They want to give us the best possibility, and at that time, it made sense to think that way, right? So, okay, let's raise them, be smart, go into medicine, that they'll be comfortable for their life, and that's certainly true. But 20 years go by as your child grows up, and now different fields grow up, and in Houston, oil and gas was a big one. So going into business is a big one. So financially, there's other avenues. I mean, you and I both know. You just talked about it. There's better ways to make money than be a doctor, right? Much better ways. But there's also the how should I say this? The status factor. So for our parents at the time, there is something like, oh, well, my son's a doctor, compared to like, hey, my son, he makes $5 million a year, but he's
an engineer. It's not the same.
Still Mr. Patel, right? He's not Dr. Patel.
It's not the same.
He's not Dr. Pillai. So there is that status symbol to it, I guess, as well. But yeah, I mean, I think in our generation, we'll be different with our kids. Like, go get those 20 M's. You know what I mean?
One of my best friends is a sheriff's officer, right?
Yeah.
And he's making six figures as a sheriff's officer.
Yeah.
He started at 18. He's done 20, almost 30 years now. He's going to retire and get six figures in perpetuity for life with a 6% increase with no student loans. So can you imagine if you had no student loans and then now he can retire at under 50, retire and make that money in perpetuity and now enjoy 30 years of freedom that we never get. So like the idea of what is success today to me is totally different. But I have an immigrant story. I was born in Trinidad, right? Me and my mother, when we came here, she rented a room from a person that we did not know until we showed up to the person's house. In Trinidad, they said, I know somebody in Florida that will let you rent a room. And we get on the plane and come here. And we
wasn't
show
a
up to their
family
house.
friend or anything.
Wasn't a family friend,
Wow.
didn't know him until we showed up there and was like, hey, Adam, Arlene, we heard you can rent a room there. We had agreed on the phone, but you show up, met him for the first time. And me and my mother slept in the bed together right there. I'm 10 years old in the bed with my mother because we're renting a room. So like that immigrant story, totally, you know, I feel that I have that. I still have that. I talked to my mom this morning, actually. She's in Grenada right now on vacation. And like me and her, we talked about it. I said, yeah, that pressure that you have to be something because we sacrificed to get you here makes you have to do that. Now, my grandfather, who passed away last month, and I went back to Trinidad to see him, I tell a story at his funeral about, like, my grandfather barely spoke to me, like, until I graduated and I was Dr. Ramsey. Before that, I could call the house to talk, and he'd put me on the phone with my grandmother right away. Hey, your grandson's here. Like, didn't even barely see me. I'm in the corner. I'm the little kid. Like, get out of here. Like, I'm not bothered with you. I come home right after we graduate, you know, before you get your license, and you have a little bit of time in between. I said, all right, let me go back to Trinidad, see everybody. I come home, Dr. Ramsey, my boy. And then he takes me to the country club because he's a golfer. He takes me to the country club. Everybody, that's my grandson, Dr. Ramsey. I'm like, hold on. A year ago, you barely knew my name. Like now, so that you know. But there's a status. There's a thing like you. Okay, now you are somebody worth my attention and my time, and now we can talk about it. It's just one of those things that, you know, it happens. It's fun. I remember that. You know, I remember that fondly. You know, generations.
I think it definitely is a cultural thing. You know, yeah. I mean, it's very common in Indian and Asian culture for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was as common in Trinidadian culture.
Half of Trinidad is Indian. Remember, half of Trinidad is Indian.
That's true. That's true.
So, curry. What do you think the curry? And my daughter's gonna be coming in here in a minute.
Okay.
Say hi.
Okay. Hey.
What do you think about?
Sorry.
We're good. We're good. This is real.
Yeah.
This is real.
Yeah.
But yeah, half of the you good. Half of the culture in Trinidad is Indian, and we eat curry. So like,
I didn't know that.
It starts having a melting pot. It starts having all that stuff. Now, when did the 3-piece suit come into play? When did what? The 3-piece suit. When did you like to be the smooth dresser? When did you have to be this? Because, you know, I like to dress up when I go to these conferences.
You do. You look smooth, yeah.
But, you know, I know if I'm going to see you there, I'm not going to be the sharpest dresser in the room. So I already know if you're not going to be there, I might have a chance to get best dressed. If you're going to be there, I already know that's not. I'm just trying to get second place. Once I get in the top 3, I'm cool with that. But when did fashion, when did all of that stuff come in for you?
You know, that's interesting. I'm not exactly sure when it started. I think it probably correlated a little bit when I started speaking more. So when I started starting to do more speaking engagements, and so when you're on stage, you know, obviously to dress nice, and you know, my little inner circle of my close friends, they're very well dressed, and one of them in particular is a big fashionista, I like to call them, and so they influenced me a little bit. And I think when I started getting on the stage a little bit more, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna be a little bit more bold. I'm gonna go out. And then, so I think after like the first 2 or 3, like I got comments and people were like, "Oh man, like okay, this ain't like a regular black suit you just wear."
It becomes a thing. Yep.
And then when that happened, I think it's like, okay, you ingratiate yourself with that personality. Like I'm gonna be that guy. So I just kept pushing it. So
it's like me with the hats. I did a hat at Vision Expo West in Vegas. I bought it in Vegas and I wore it there. And then after that, then the next one I didn't bring a hat to the next conference because I didn't think anything. I bought it at West. I just wore it the day when I went there. Then I went to East a few months later, and everybody's like, "Where's the hat?" And I was like, "Okay." Yeah. Then it just became a thing.
Hey, that's your thing, man. Like when I see somebody else wear a hat, when I see somebody else wear a hat like that, I'm like, you trying to be Adam? Like, what are you doing? Right?
It's cool. They're trying. If I see somebody else in a 3-piece suit, I'm like, hey, I got a guy for that. I got a guy that already does that.
They're not all 3 pieces. You know,
Okay.
I rotate them out, but I think you know, and then once you start, because normally I dress like this. I'm in scrubs.
Okay.
I'm wearing like, you know, regular clothes. I go from scrubs to a t-shirt and basketball shorts most days.
Okay.
So the time that I go out for these conferences is the time that I can wear those.
Okay.
And you kind of enjoy it once you get into it. You can think out the patterns and how things can coordinate. And
do you have a guy? Do you have somebody that makes it, or are you buying them off the rack? Is this that you got a guy that comes?
No. These are now it's all custom.
Yeah. I knew the answer. I was just trying.
I've been off the rack since grad school, boy.
Woo! I like it. Pop your collar there a little bit. I like it. But you know what? You gotta show. We gotta have some professionalism. You gotta show people this is how you're supposed to. There's a level. There's a bar that you have to get to. And then my patients, some of them follow me on social media. And they're like, "Oh, I like that." You know, and you know, there's a bar. People want to see that you're being professional. So I like that. Now, what are your hobbies? See, we haven't even talked about eyes yet. We're getting that. What is a hobby that's not eye care related? What do you like to do? What is your thing? Everybody has a vice. What's your thing that's not eye care related?
Well, you know my vice. My vice is drinking, obviously. Okay. So we both got to cut down on. We got to cut down on that. Yeah. I know you like the cigars. I'm thinking about maybe.
Okay. Once in a while.
Yeah. But basketball was my hobby growing up. Like
I see the Houston Rockets behind sport. You. So I see that.
Yeah. So
I see that.
I haven't played in a long time. I haven't played since COVID. I actually used to play in a league. Up until then, and then COVID happened, and then I couldn't hoop as much. So I'm sure I'm terrible now. I'm much older, and I don't want to risk injury. But
I was about to say the amount of ACLs I see with them guys going out there. No matter how much you pull, and what I think to myself is like, if I tear ACL, the amount of money that it will cost me to be out of the office, is it worth it? Like I get I get the fun, I get the excitement, I get the energy, I get the all the other stuff. But like it's like now I got a guy who comes and does the AC filters at the office because it's in the ceiling, and people are like, "Oh, why do you pay somebody to come and service and da da da?" And I was like, "Because my ceilings are 30 feet high. The AC drops down, so it's like probably 20 feet to get to it because it has a drop ceiling." I'm like, if I fall from that ladder, what does that cost me? Way more than $100 that it costs the guy to come do the AC filters.
Right.
So I'm like, no, I'm not. My mind, as a business owner, my mind thinks, differently. But
I'm not even thinking that way. I'm thinking I can't even do it. Like I
can do it. You can
I
do
can't
it.
even do it. My wife got mad at me the other day because I outsource all. Like I hate doing everything. Maintenance, house stuff. I paid somebody one time to come here. I mean, you could go on Fiverr or Upwork or whatever. I mean, it's not that hard and not that expensive. But we just moved into our new house and we had so much laundry to be done. It was crazy. And I was like, man, this is going to take me like 2-3 hours to do all this laundry.
Yeah.
And I hired somebody to come in. And my wife got so pissed. She's like, you hired somebody to do laundry? And I was like, yeah, because that $30 means like, okay, now I get to hang out with you. I get to hang out with my daughter. Like I'm not preoccupied with mundane tasks. So
I have no problem.
The basketball thing's a little bit different also because like, yeah, man, as you get up, much higher risk of injury. And I have no NBA plans. I don't think they're recruiting me.
All right. So tell me about your experience at University of Houston. What did you how was that experience? What did you like about your time there?
Yeah, optometry school is interesting because there's always pros and cons, right? Especially after you graduate, you can realize of like how the education could be better, how things could be different, and I think there's a lot of that of how protocols can be different, of how you can get students better prepared once they're out in the real world. So I think that's one big thing because a lot of your professors they went to the university, they graduated, and they go straight into academia.
And they didn't do it themselves.
They're teaching you to be a real world doctor without really having that real world experience. So I think that's something that most universities, I'm not just talking about UHCO.
They're all like that, yeah.
Yeah, they should ingratiate a little bit more to the real world doctors so that they can understand like when these students graduate, what to expect. Okay.
It'd be hard to afford me or you if we was to give up a day of clinic to go there. Like it will be hard. So you also got like it's a little difficult, but I get you. I think there needs to be more of their ability to come through our offices, or more of us being able to go lecture for 1 day or 1 hour or one lecture a semester, and being able to give, like, I wouldn't mind giving up a day. I wouldn't mind giving up an hour, but giving up like a day a week forever in perpetuity, you couldn't pay enough. It'd be
right.
difficult.
It would be tough. And so we have students that come to our clinic. Oh my God, it's like the worst day to do a podcast with you, man.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
It would be tough because financially it's going to be a hit no matter what, right? So there's a couple things of whether, like, we have students coming in, so that helps. So a student comes in, they're working with us in our practice. So I can still be in clinic and I can still teach the things that happen in a real world environment. And the other thing is, I mean, from if we really want to make that difference, then we just have to take that hit, right? We take that bite of like, all right, well, I'm not going to make that revenue that day to donate my time, right? And and don't get me wrong, I know you're not doing it, I'm not doing it either, but maybe one day we will. And there's also not that outreach as much as probably it should be. But from UHCO, I got to give a lot of, that was the cons, but the pros were, it gave me the life that I have. It gave me the passion that I have for the profession that I picked randomly. And I got to donate a lot of that to the externship portion. I really do. It was with Dr. Deloach at Bridge Builders, which is now Cedar Springs Eye Clinic. I mean, they were the ones that really transformed a lot of my perspective of how I thought my career would go.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm going to pause this right here. So how was, like, because University of Houston, but you also went to University of Texas in Austin for undergrad. Where did you like living better? Austin or Houston? I know where you live now, but where, family apart, just being in college in Austin, college in Houston, which one gets a thumbs up?
Oh, that's easy. College? Yeah. College in Austin.
Austin. No, why? Because I've been to Austin, I've been to Houston. It seems like very different, but I've visited, but I didn't get to live there. Why is Austin better than Houston for college?
So UT alum, UHCO alum, right?
Okay.
I am at heart a Longhorn.
Okay.
Behind this couch is another Longhorn poster that looks like this.
Okay, got it.
I think undergrad affiliates go further than graduate.
Yes.
Man, Austin was just, bro. Like if you got to be there. It's crazy.
Okay.
Like, it is a college town.
So University of Houston didn't fit, because Houston is the only school. Well, maybe Berkeley, maybe Ohio State, a few of them that have like a continuation of undergrad, grad school, more college town feel. Everything else is like siloed by themselves.
University of Houston is also at the time that I was there. I don't know if this stat is still true, but at the time that I was there, the undergrad portion, the University of Houston was the biggest commuting school in the nation. So meaning there wasn't a large population of kids that always just stay on campus. Austin is the complete opposite of that, because people are coming from everywhere. So you're living in the dorm environment, you're in fraternities and sororities, and there's so much stuff that's going on just outside of the classroom. A lot of people that go to U of H, they go to class, then they go home, back to their parents' house. Like that didn't happen in UT. Just when you get to a school like that, and I'm sure Ohio State and Michigan, those kind of schools are like this as well. Like you just start bleeding those colors like right away, right when you get there. So, I had 4 years at UHCO, but I'm not a Cougar fan. I
was wondering, because you got two teams to root for. They both have a basketball college team. You know, so
Yep.
I was trying to figure out who you're rooting for. Like, how does that work when you see
No.
SEO doesn't have that, so I don't have to. And I went to UF undergrad, so I don't
Yeah.
have to have those battles in my mind. But how do you?
I'll root for universities just because it's Houston, but I have no. I am a Longhorn. Like there is no discrepancy. Like no question. I am Longhorn all day, every day, 7 days a week.
Okay. Now I see that you're adjunct professor. That's the externships, right? How
Correct.
long have you been doing how long have you had externs in your clinic?
It's got to be 5 years, 4 or 5 years now.
So it's after COVID or before COVID?
Right after COVID is when they
after COVID. Now I always think about that, but I try to think through like how does it affect my flow in the clinic? Because the people I've seen do it, they're working the patients up, then they're doing the work, and then they're jumping in. But that's going to make it take longer, which means I need more gaps. I flow pretty quickly in my flow, even though we're doing everything, because I don't have that other little gap in there. I'm jumping back and forth, and I'm going. How does that? How has been teaching the externs? How has that experience been? Is it what you thought it was going to be? Because some people don't have that experience or don't know about that. How's it like on the other side? Because I know what it's like to be an extern, but I've never had the students underneath me. So,
and I've been the extern, and I remember thinking like, oh, what a gem I am, because I'm like free labor for you, that I can expedite things. And as you know, it's not that.
It's not that at all. I thought that too. Am I like, oh, I'm free labor? Now I'm like, no, it's a lot of freaking work, and I'm slowing them down. I'm messing them up. I'm asking all these questions. Yes,
it could be, but it would be a disservice to them if you treated it that way, because they're coming to you to learn, right? So if they're coming to you to learn, that means you got to take the time to teach them something, right? Like if you want to just have them as a super tech, sure. They probably would be free labor. They could expedite your practice, and that would be pretty terrible to do because you're not giving them the insight that that's not the reason they're there. It does slow you down because you have to now go into like, hey, this is the reason I made these decisions. This is the reason why I did this lens design. This is the reason why I did this, why I did that. And I would have thought, after a year or two, I was like, okay, all right, it's slowing our practice down too much. And, we got to step away from it. But it has been, to be honest, very rewarding. Now, we don't do it 5 days a week. It's 1 day a week where we do it. And
how are you doing it 1 day a week? How's that work?
It's just how we work with the college.
So they rotate to different clinics?
So they're like one of their primary care clinics. Instead of being primary care they're doing it with us, but it's special. So they pick out, they're like, hey, we see this clinic does this glaucoma and retina or whatever. And like,
and they can cycle through. That's good. SEO doesn't do that, where you can get part of your clinic on campus is actually off campus. So that's separate from their actual extern where they're totally off 5 days a week.
That's correct.
This is what that's good because sometimes their clinic doesn't get enough patients. So this is one way that they can get their patient numbers up.
That was the point, especially after COVID. That was the point of doing it. And like I said, I thought like after a couple of years maybe I'll be tired of it. But no, it's been very rewarding. I mean, first of all, these kids that are coming out, man, like they're so smart. Like, I mean, intelligence is not the issue. We always want to hate on the young kids for whatever else. Like, oh, they don't work as hard. They don't know as much. And their board scores and all that. Like, no. Like these kids got it. Like they just need the training to get where they need to be. But they're energetic and enthusiastic, and some of that maybe because they're choosing that specific clinic. So like the kids that come into our clinic, they're choosing our clinic because they want to learn about vision therapy, which my partner does. They want to learn about scleral lenses and Ortho-K, which I do. So I think that's probably part of it, but and it keeps you on your toes because like, I mean, if you're teaching, well, you got to know what you're talking about.
They're going to ask you. They're going to ask you.
Yeah, why. Like you can't be like behind on the times. I mean, not that you and I would be, anyways. I think we always stay on top of those type of things, but even more so because as a student, if you remember, like third or fourth, like you got so many questions that are coming up, and what's going on with how do you relate this study to how does it work with clinical practice? Like, all right, well, how are you going to answer that question? You got to be on your toes. So I think it keeps us invigorated.
Now, what was the last straw that made you? Because I heard your other podcast. I heard a lot of podcasts you've been on, so I don't need to rehash those questions if you haven't. Sure. Look them up. You can get that. You were making good money and you were doing well at the last job of where you were employed, right? Yeah, but right. What was the day? What was the moment that you said, "All right, I'm doing this. I'm doing Evolutionary Eye Care"? Like, what? Do you remember that day? Do you remember the moment? Do you remember what? Because you were doing good, making good money. Was there something that you said, you know what? I got to figure out how to make this work.
It's going to be surprising. It wasn't something that went wrong when I was making good money. It was a decision I made 4th year of optometry school. My partner to this day, it was a classmate of mine that sat right behind me. And we had a lunch or dinner meeting at one point when we were 4th years. We're sitting down. There's 4 of us, 4 friends. And we discussed, hey, when we graduate, what do you think about going into private practice? And we laid out this plan of how we think we should be. And remember, we're young kids at this point, right? You know, we think we know everything when we really know nothing. And we set out this plan, and with 4 of us, and obviously only 2 of us survived into going into it, which I think me and him kind of thought was the more realistic possibility. Like, we were the only ones that were really serious about it. It was that moment where we knew, like, hey, we are going into private practice. We wanted the freedom to do what we wanted to do. And we thought, probably foolishly at that time, we could do it better than most people. And this many years later, I think that was still a foolish thought. That's when the thought happened. And that's when the passion happened to do it. Then we go into work, but we want to know, like, we want to get some experience. And then when we were making good money, that just made it tougher to go forward with that dream, because we had the dream already. We knew we wanted to do it. And even when I would enter that position, I told them when I signed that contract, hey, eventually this is my goal. And so when I told them I'm leaving, which was, to be honest, that job that I had was great. It was I was working at OD OMD practice. That was fantastic. And I mean, we got just insight into the newest technologies. I mean, we did the earliest dry eye therapies, the earliest retinal. It was really just great. I mean, imagine you have a retinal attachment in your office, and then you just walk 2 doors down, and the retina surgeon's right there. You know, it was a really great experience, and really good money, as I mentioned on other podcasts. But to walk away from that was because I knew 3 years prior before that is I wanted to own this business. And when I went up to them and said, hey, I'm leaving to do it, they understood. They actually offered to double my salary before I did it. And I was like, oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah. But, yeah.
Now, because
it happened because of the decisions we made that many years prior.
Okay. Now, because I would have never guessed that you would have started off with another person. You seem so like laser focused, right? That the having somebody else, what if we don't agree? What if we don't have the same vision? We say one thing. It's like getting married, which I don't think people, sometimes it's good to be young and making those decisions, because the older you may not have made that decision. But you seem like so laser focused. Like, do you think if you did it solo instead of with a partner from the beginning, do you think you would have had the same success or different success? Because like you guys do different things. Like you start off, he's doing VT and stuff like that. So like you guys are doing different subsets of optometry. But do you think if you did it solo, do you think you would have been at the same? Subtract the VT and the stuff that he's providing and he's doing it. You're not actually doing. But do you think the office itself would have been the same, or do you think it would have been different if you were solo versus with a partner?
Right. So I hope he doesn't ever get to see this, but no.
You don't think it would be the same?
I wouldn't know. I would not have been as successful without him. Without David Chow, who's my partner, there's no way.
What is it?
I
Because
think
that's the part I struggle. Like I'm an independent person. We have similar personalities and other stuff outside of the thing. And I struggle to be like, okay, bring it somebody else as a partner. Like I have an associate now. Like getting to the partner, that's a trust level. This is my baby. Because I think now it's been my baby for this 10 years. So like now starting with somebody might have been easier, but like, handing something and like, oh, I'll give you a percentage. I'll give you this. You can become my partner. Like that's it, I'm giving you part of my baby, what's the benefit there of having the partner that has, why do you think it is? Because you're so good at the context and you're so good at yourself and you're so good at people in the teaching. I see the other thing. What makes the partnership besides him as a person? I don't know. I don't know him personally like that. So I'm not saying him as a person, but what made the partnership? Why do you think that helped?
Well, he grew me and I grew him. It's like you're married. Right? Like, I mean, do you still want to be single right now?
No.
I mean, you're a better person because you're married, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a very similar relationship. I think we helped each other because we're different and we helped each other grow. And the other thing that helped, he wasn't my best friend in optometry school. Like, he was a friend of mine, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't like my boy that I go hang out with. You know what I mean? And that helped us to start because we entered everything as a business relationship. So everything was business related. So we had many arguments along the way, but the arguments were cordial and they were logical and we could hash out those things. Like I would say I'm probably the more creative, energetic one. Like I have a million ideas and he's got to be the one that shoots me down. And I got to be the one to tell him, like, you need to be more creative. And having that dynamic helps. And if it was, sure, by now, we probably both could be successful individually. But that growth wouldn't have happened if we didn't start off together. So a lot of those, and another big thing is just the lows, like how we picked each other up. I mean, one of the big ones, I mean, when we started our first practice, and this guy I'll never forgive for the rest of my life, but one of our loan officers, he mentioned, like, we're going through the contract, and imagine being, what were we, 26 maybe, somewhere on there, when we graduated optometry school.
26, so it depends on you. Probably
I
like 29.
graduated younger, but I was under 30, I think, before we started the practice. I think maybe 30, maybe right at 30. Anyways, like I saw the stipulation in the contract that says, hey, this loan amount changes based on square footage amount of what our rental space is going to be. And I said, hey, listen, what you're saying won't be the loan approval amount because of what our square footage amount will be in year 3 or whatever else. I thought that, I mean, for me at that age to even notice that, and the loan mortgage person didn't notice that, my rep that's supposed to support me didn't notice it. I thought it was insane. Anyway, so I brought it up to him and he's like, oh, yeah, no, that's no problem. So, okay, great. We move forward. We're building construction.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, hey, by the way, this little thing in your loan, like, yeah, by the way, like your square footage is higher than what was said. So we have to cut your loan. I was like, no. I already talked to my rep. I already told him about that. He's like, that doesn't matter. I talked to my rep. I was like, hey, I brought this up to you. He's like, well, what do you want to do? You can get another lender if you want. We're 6 months into building. We lost $60,000 of loan improvement. I mean, at that time, remember, this is a decade ago. So you go from 180,000 to 120,000. I'm freaking out. I'm like, I already have money allocated for that. What are we going to do?
Right.
And he's the one that helped calm me down, and it helped, like, okay, we'll figure it out. Let's go through it. That would have been tough to do on my own at that time. And
that makes sense.
He went through at the time that I helped him through as well. Contract negotiation. There's, negotiating for other practices, right? Like those are things that I helped out with. So I think having a partner helps because it shows what you're not good at and it helps support you along the way.
Yeah, I think that's great. I remember when my loan, the bank screwed me over too, and I didn't get a line of credit afterwards. I was supposed to get the first thing and then get the line of credit, which we were going to use as my working capital. And then when we closed on the loan, then I tried to get the line of credit, and they were like, "Well, your debt to income ratio is too high." And I'm like, "Yeah, all the debt is what you gave me." Like,
Right.
so you already told me I was going to get a line of credit, but you said I couldn't get the line of credit until the loan was done. And as soon as the loan was done, they said my debt to income ratio was too high, so I couldn't get the line of credit. And I was like, but it was always going to be too high. You knew you were giving me this 140 grand. So, and then I got screwed. These horror stories, but I didn't have anybody. I was by myself sitting in that room, in that office, being like, okay, now I was going to use the working capital for all my marketing, because I didn't know how much I was going to need for the flyers, all the other stuff. So I put all my marketing into the working capital. That's where I was going to spend it. So now I have to do all the marketing with $0. And having to do that by myself in that office, hitting my head against the wall, like, what are you going to do? You got no working capital and you got no marketing budget, but yet you need to get somebody to come through that door.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a lot of private practice owners, right? And yeah. I would say, when you ask me what the advantage is, having that person next to me, and some of these partnerships don't work out. I've heard all the horror stories. Actually, most of my mentors said don't do a partnership. That's why
I'm happy to talk about it, because that's something that we don't talk about. We don't talk about the before, and there are positive things to it. There are negatives, but in that situation, a lot of these times for these last 10 years, I wish I had somebody that was in it with me, because somebody can be like, all right, it's going to be all right. But it's totally different when both y'all names are on the loan. It's totally different when both y'all names are on the lease. When you're both there, it's going to be all right. Yes, it feels like it's going to be all right. That's what you're saying. You're not the one that's trying to figure out how I'm making payroll next week.
Right.
Like, you're not that one.
But he was. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. I love it. I love it.
And you know, the turnaround, when it was for him, same thing, where I could help in the ways that help calm him down. I think that's something that's overlooked, because, like, when you're failing, you got to have somebody to pick you up, right? It's like, you know, when you get, you know, I'll do a football analogy, right? Like, if you get drafted as a quarterback and, you know, you got a lot of talent, but you're still raw, the coaching is so important. Like, what do they say? Most talented quarterbacks, they get ruined instead of being developed. Like, development is important. And I think we developed each other into becoming, you know, I mean, he helps me become a better doctor, and I think hopefully I help him as well. But the biggest thing was, like, just being business owners.
I love it. Now, you got your fellowship. When did you get your fellowship? Was that right after your residency, or right after? Did you?
Good question. I never did a residency.
So you never did a residency. See, one of these contact lens gurus, everybody said you have to do it. No, because you didn't do a residency.
No.
So what was the process of getting a fellowship, or what was the process of doing that?
Yeah, so it's a very strenuous process. You have to go through testing and case reports and dealing with the boards reviewing your cases and such. So I think I'm one of the few people in the nation that have a fellowship in both scleral lenses and orthokeratology. And the Ortho-K one was the most recent one, which I was very proud of, because it is tough to get. Let me address the residency question first, because that's the one I get the most. Is, do you need to do a residency to do these specialties? Let me start by saying the doctors that I know, that are my colleagues, that do basically the same things that I do, that have done a residency, most of them don't regret it. I would say 90-95% don't regret it. I didn't do one, and, you know, I probably do the most specialty lenses in the nation still. So you don't have to. And I remember I was asking an attending of mine when I was at UATL, I was like, hey, think about residency. What do you think? Like, what's the point of it? They're like, well, you can get 5 years ahead. And I was like, okay, well, what if I just practice for those 5 years and get that experience? You know, why not work that year, get an actual salary, and then gain experience? And then in 5 years, what I learned in that residency is going to be probably irrelevant, medicine changes so quickly. Like if you did a residency 10 years ago in, let's just say, scleral lenses, like the field has changed so much.
Changed a lot. Yeah.
In optics, how things. I mean, they weren't even doing free form profilometry. I mean, like that information isn't as valuable as you might think it would be. Now, I hate to say that because everybody that does residency loves it, but that was my thinking.
I think it's your baseline. I think it depends on what your baseline, it's if you have enough of a baseline knowledge base, then that's different. But some schools and some students did not get enough of the baseline. Some schools in their externships, they didn't get enough.
No. No, I don't think that's it. I had no baseline knowledge. I never fit a RGP or scleral at all in school. My first job, nothing. I eventually, the doctor there actually did have some RGP, so he's like, "Hey, maybe you should see some of them." So I got some experience from that. And then when I realized, like, no, I'm going to do this, I'm watching every webinar, I'm watching every lecture, and then I'm going to start getting into myself. It was all self-taught.
So what gave you this passion? Do you wear contacts? Like
I wear contacts. Like I just wear regular contacts.
So what gave you, if you didn't have it, you jumped into eye care, and just liked it when you got in there, didn't have exposure to hard lenses like that in optometry school.
Right.
What made you become the number one fitter of contacts in the country? Like what how do you go? Like how do you get where does the passion come from? Because I know some people, they have keratoconus themselves. Some people have personal connections. Where do you go from not fitting any and then not doing a residency in it, self-teaching yourself, and then saying, okay, I'm going to go do all this? Like, there's something missing there. Give me the breadcrumbs.
So let's be honest. When me and my partner started, we decided what specialty to go into. He had a passion for vision therapy, low vision, which I was happy to hear because I didn't want anything to do with that. And I decided I was going to do specialty contacts, anterior segment disease, etc. Okay, which anterior segment disease I had a passion for. Specialty contacts I have that much experience for. But the reason, this is a niche that not a lot of people do, and there's money in it. So that's why I said that initially. And then how I got into it more and more, passion is, in my experience, I thought that's the most transformational impact you can have on patient care. Like a lot of doctors I know when they graduate, and I hear today, I mean, I was kind of like that when I graduated, but I still hear today. A lot of them love posterior segment pathology. They love retina, right? They're like, oh man, I'm going to diagnose this, diagnose that. But at the end of the day, all right, well, you're not treating it. Like you got to refer out, you got to send to a retinal specialist. Like if a keratoconus patient comes in, yo, I'm helping you. Like I'm the one that's changing your life because you can see 28/400 and now you can see 20/20 maybe. Like now you can get a job. Like now you can get payments from an income that can support your rest of your family. Like that's the transformational impact we can make. I have a kid that's 10 years old, that's -4, that's probably going to be a -12 at some point that I can change right now. That impact was so important to me. I think financially, initially, as a young kid, just not even graduating, oh yeah, this is the way to make money. Great. And then you see what you can do. That impact is what changed everything.
Got it. Okay. I love it. Now at your office, I went on there, I looked through all the stuff. You guys do a lot of things. Like you guys offer a lot of services. Yeah. So how does, and I've been working on this. I was working on this at the office before I got here on the record, like little decision trees and different flow charts to keep everything straight, because, there's only so much that one person can do. There's only so many things you can go through. There's only so many tests you can do with a patient before it becomes overwhelming. So how do you guys handle the flow of the office? And I'm assuming you guys refer to one another within there, but what is the how do you handle doing so many things? Because it seems like you guys offer everything under one roof, but how does that work as far as flow wise in the office?
I would say maybe we offer a lot, but I think our focus is on a few things.
Okay.
So my focus in just clinically in my practice is on specialty contacts and Ortho-K and dry eye. Those are my three. Like that's my primary focus. Everything else, great. If this routine exam comes in, a comprehensive, whatever. Okay. My partner's focus, I'm sure, is on vision therapy, dry eye, and he's now doing specialty contacts and Ortho-K. That's where our focus is because that's what's most important to us. It's where most of our referrals come in. And if a vision exam comes in here and there, great. We'll squeeze them in and we'll do what we can. But every living, breathing moment is for us to be better clinically and administratively to make sure we can handle these specialty contact lens patients, these Ortho-K patients, these dry eye patients, and these vision therapy patients. Because that's what we want to be known for, what we want to help our community with, and what we want to help our patient base with.
Love it, love it, love it. Now, were you on your local society board, like the Houston?
Well, yeah,
board?
past president,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, past
Yeah.
president, got it. Is there any aspiration to be on the Texas board, AOA board? You know, I want to know that same passion that you had locally. Is there any passion or any desire to go up the chain with that at all?
Great question. Yeah, at one point, you know, when I was a young buck, yeah, maybe. I don't think it's there for me anymore. You know, a lot of it's got to, you know, so much of that, it's legislative stuff that you have, which is so important. I'm just not the guy for that. I don't have any interest in dealing with politics or legislation. So I think probably a few years ago, because I did have an interest at some time to be on the TOA board. But I kind of, yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
There's really great doctors that do great jobs with that. And, you know, not the place for me, I think.
Fair question. People ask me too. I did my local one. I'm not sure about moving up on that. So time commitment.
I will continue to support AOA, TUA, local.
Yeah. Now you write articles, podcasts, lecture, all the other stuff. What is your favorite medium for actually impacting or influencing this profession? Is it writing articles? Is it being on a podcast? Is it giving a lecture that you create? Is it doing industry talks for companies where they're providing the slides? What is your favorite medium for impacting the profession?
My favorite medium is speaking, for sure.
Speaking for lectures that you create, or
yes,
company gives you the content
that I create. I like doing both. Don't get me wrong, but if you ask me which one's my preference, the one that I create, because there's so much goes into that, right? Like you're creating it, and usually I'm creating it for a topic that I've heard that doctors wanted to hear about. So that is the most impactful. Now, that shouldn't be surprising to you because you know how much I like to talk. So that's what I like. I would say what's probably is the most impactful to other doctors from what I hear from feedback is probably my social media posts because it reaches out so many people. So because I post pretty much every day, and people always get to see a case or see something that I went through. Where if I'm doing a talk, you know, I might do, you know, maybe 10 talks a year if I'm at maximum. You know, gets crazy with kids, but that nowhere near with I'll do 300 posts a year though. So I would say probably have most people get impactful information from me is probably from social media. But what I do enjoy is definitely doing talks that I've created on myself because besides the selfishness of like I like to hear myself talk is I created it because for two reasons. Number one, it was things that I thought I didn't know about. Like I wish somebody told me this earlier, right? So I'm creating it from that context. And then I'm also getting it from the feedback from other doctors that ask me questions. So I'm trying to create content in a lecture format for problems that need to be solved for doctors that are giving me that direct feedback.
Okay, good, good, good. Now you speak for a few companies out there, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now, how do you decide on who you speak for? Because if you're doing Ortho-K, there's a bunch of companies out there. If you're doing sclerosis, there's a bunch of companies out there. Dry eye, you guys got all the toys. There's a bunch of. How do you decide who you speak for? And when you're deciding which company you're going to speak for, because most of them don't like you to speak for multiple. They like you to, to only speak for them. They like that. Even though we
Yeah.
could use multiple things, that they like you to be only one with them. Do you require anything of them in return, as far as I'm supporting your company and I am helping your company grow, but I want to make sure that you guys are supporting values and things that I believe in, that I think is important? Where do they donate? Where do they give back? Do you ever ask those questions of people? Because they know we all are representing these brands. I speak for a bunch of them. I do all the other stuff, but sometimes I feel like we don't ask enough of them to be like, hey, you want my face to represent your brand, but I want to make sure that that brand is actually doing right by the community. Do you ever ask those things, and how do you decide who you work with?
That's a great question. You probably do a better job of that than even I do, to be honest. My way of choosing that is pretty simple and easy. It was the companies I was already working with and doing a lot of. So it just made sense for me to speak with them. So either they would approach me like, hey, you're already doing this a lot and you have experience. What do you think about being a consultant to help other doctors? And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. It was already a company I was supporting because I believed in it. So those were easy decisions for me because it wasn't like, oh, let me support this company because they're offering me so much money to do a talk. It was just companies I was already working with that I believed in. So it was an easy transition. Now, what I do like of what you mentioned is, all right, so I'm now supporting you. Like, what are you doing back? I think that is probably something that we as optometrists that are supporting industry should do a better job of enforcing on them because they want us to support them. How are they going to support us?
They want us to influence people to support
Right,
their brand. Well,
right,
what do they donate their money to? What do they
right,
give back to? Like
exactly. Yeah,
what things are important and important to you guys besides your bottom line? Because you want
right,
us to care about your product. But sometimes people think we get a lot of money. Not enough for sometimes being out of the clinic for 2 days. Not enough for the time when you prep and you're doing the prep work before. So sometimes it's like a passion for influencing and helping our colleagues grow and do better in their business, in those arenas. But I,
yeah.
I, I want to know what do these companies care about besides their own profit?
Well, I will say, and Adam, as we've talked over the years, at the level that we're at now, like, um, we're not making more money from doing these talks compared
No,
to we're doing it because we want to.
right?
We're doing it because we want to spread a message. We're doing something that we think is impactful. That's the reason we're doing it. And that's a very beneficial thing for these companies. And we're doing it because we honestly believe it. Like, I don't
Hmm.
think you represent a company you don't believe
No,
in. Same
right.
thing for me. And that's the reason we chose to do it. Um, and there is probably a reason that we, as optometrists, don't go out to industry as much and say like, hey, well, how much are you supporting? Because that's a tough conversation to have. But it's something that everything that's important is tough. And we probably should do it more.
Yeah, having those tough talks. All right, we're wrapping up pretty here.
Yeah.
Um, where do you like to travel? Are you a travel person? Do you like to vacation travel? And if you pick a place, what's one place you think everybody else should go and experience? What's the best place you've ever been that you think other people should go and experience?
Worst question, man. I'm not a travel person. And I mean, I haven't, I was telling a patient of mine the other day, I don't think I've taken a vacation in, I don't know, like 8 years, 10 years, who knows?
What?
I'm a workaholic, I tell this story also, not even a story, just a statement. I don't have to take a lot of vacations because my job doesn't stress me out. Like a lot of people take vacation, like, oh, I can't wait to get away from my job. I don't hate my job. It's not a job. It's a passion. So I don't I don't have to like, oh, I got to get out of here. Like, no, like I love what I do every single day. So I don't have to look forward to this vacation. So that's one thing that helps me. But I have taken trips, nothing recently. I will say me and my wife are probably beach people. So
Okay.
where are you going to go? Like, I'm not a sightseeing guy. I don't, I just don't care about that kind of stuff. I want to lay on a beach, warm weather, water, drink in hand.
I
I'm good.
don't hear good things about Galveston though. So I don't know where
Oh,
Florida we
no.
got beaches. So I don't hear good things. So I don't know. You got to get on a plane. You can't drive to the beaches right there because I don't hear good things
Hey, man.
about that.
All right,
So
look, Galveston's my town. All
yeah,
right.
yeah. I'm just saying
You're
I
from
don't hear good
Florida.
things.
You're from Florida.
Charles
Don't
Barkley
go to
didn't
Galveston. Don't go to
Charles
Galveston.
Barkley did not speak well of
Hey,
Galveston, and I was like, oh, good note to self: don't go there for the beach.
that you can go eat there, whatever, but the water looks our skin tone.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good. That's good. That's
Not
definitely
good.
not
No.
good. All right,
Yeah.
where do you see yourself in 10 years? Because you've grown a lot and you started off, and those humble beginnings, and you start off at the office and trying to figure out how to make that work. And you've gotten to the success of the multiple locations and multiple doctors there, and your job doesn't feel like working. You don't got to take a vacation ever. Great. But what does 10 years from now look like for you? Because you guys have grown so much. But what is the next marker 10 years from now?
I think maybe, obviously reducing. I mean, I still love clinic. I'm sure I'll still love clinic at that time. Probably not full time. I do enjoy the teaching aspect of it, whether that's through students in the university system or whether that's through consulting with other doctors. Like, I think a lot of what's propelled in the last few years for me is my Ortho-K business and other doctors reaching out to learn more about it. And the specialty contact lens side. So the issue with that is I think there's still a lot of education that needs to have from the public side, but also from doctors learning it. Because as you can attest, it's probably not in the education system as much as it needs to be, especially if you want to start doing this as much as the level as many of our colleagues do. So those are the things I'm excited about, is hopefully being able to give back to the profession as much as it's given me.
Nice. Now, is there anything, because I've heard a lot of the other times you've been on podcasts and other people talk about, so I try to ask you some different things that you probably didn't discuss in other places because people get the content different places, right? Is there anything else you want to discuss, talk about, say, anything that we didn't kind of go over?
The biggest things is, just talking from our profession, one thing that I see is we don't support our profession as much as we should. Like, there's so much we do that doesn't help us propel forward as, let's say the AMA or anybody else. So if you're not supporting your professional society, whether it's your local society, your state society, and AOA, like, really think about that. That was kind of ingrained to us, during school. But I just see so many doctors that don't, because it's so easy. Once you graduate and then you're not affiliated with anything and you have your own life, and like, why am I spending this few hundred extra a month to support something that really doesn't affect me? Well, like, it's like buying car insurance, like buying life insurance, like supporting your local society, your state society, and your national society of AOA. That's malpractice insurance for you. Like, it's when you're not involved, I get you get blinded by it, but it's so easy to lose so many of the things and the privileges that we have, and of how little support we have for those kind of things is disheartening. So I would say that's probably the biggest message. If I had to give like advice or a message, like what I would like to see improve, it would be that.
Yeah, I agree. I've been paying my AOA dues and my FOA dues and my PAC dues since the beginning because we're a legislative profession. Everything that we've gained can be taken away as well, and we don't have the luxury. It's kind of one of those things where you got to do it. Now it sucks that half the people pay and the other half get to still get the benefit, but at the end of the day, I'd rather be in the half that's doing what I can to support because somebody did the work and laid the groundwork that I get to benefit from as well. So go for it, man. Well, you know what, man? This has been wonderful, man. I even though we talk a lot, I got to learn a little bit about you myself that I didn't know. I hope the audience learned about you as well. how can people reach out to you if they want to connect companies or doctors that want to connect with you? What's the best way for them to connect with you?
Hey, you've seen this on other podcasts and my lectures that I do. I'm very open in how you can communicate with me. So my IG is probably the way most people message me now. So it's at AnithP23. So it's ANITHP23. My email is drpillai at evolutionaryeeyecare.com. That's dr.pillai at evolutionaryeeyecare.com. And I mean, this is going out to mostly optometrists and people in the eye care industry. I give out my cell phone at every lecture that I do, nationally, locally, wherever. 832-289-6301. If you're an optometrist that has a passion to ask me a question, or an industry leader to ask me a question, I want you to connect with me. So those are the best ways to get at me.
He's the man. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Now, this is my tip the hat moment. That was great. I really love that. My tip the hat moment today goes to Yoda, Young ODs of America. That was one of the groups that I connected with when I first graduated, and social media, and it was out there. And I was in Palm Beach feeling like I was by myself. And when I went to these conferences, they really had events and mixers and different things, even on social media, being able to connect and engage. So my tip the hat moment goes to Yoda. I love groups that are still active, that are connecting, that are bringing optometrists together, that are pushing the profession forward, having positive environments on social media and in person where people can learn and grow to one another. So everybody involved in Yoda behind the scenes, you guys know who you are. There's so many different people between John and Justin and everybody else that is helping with that Yoda group. My tip the hat moment goes to you guys. Love you guys. If you don't know, now you need to know, this is Play Chess Not Checkers, the podcast. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, tell a friend. Thank you. Until next time, appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you learned something today that you can take back to your business, take back to your practice, and change the lives of your patients today. Now, if you love what you heard and love what you saw, download, share, like, and subscribe. Tell a friend about the Play Chess Not Checkers, the podcast.